Hey y'all, this is Cindy. I'm the Tireless Tangler, and you've arrived at another day of our Zentangle Dingbatz series featuring the book Zentangle Dingbatz by CZT Brian Crimmins. This video is finishing up the video we did last Friday, in which we put the tangled garlic cloves, or some vague facsimile of that, in this frame, the circular frame. And now this video is going to feature 2 additional designs and a little bit of advice on shading and highlighting and things we can do to accentuate this. So Simba says hi to everybody, and we will get busy here. I could do for this, let's shade it first and see where we get, and I'm going to save the shading here for a minute. Let's do something simple over here. I want to do, and I'm going to keep this in sepia maybe. I'm going to do, was it jealousy? That very simple tangle we did that's sort of rectangular. See if we can do this. And let's see, this will go up. There is a step out video for this if you would like to watch it from, I believe this was on our 5 Easy Tangles video from last week, from Tangle Tuesday. Like that. So this one will go down. Hopefully I remember this correctly. I'm not making any rash promises. But you know, one of the things I enjoy, not getting tangles wrong, but remembering them slightly differently than they're supposed to be done, and which is fine, by the way. Nobody's saying you can't do it that way. And coming up with something slightly different than the step out when I do it that way. So I'm okay with that. Just, you know, don't bring the Zentangle police, of which there are none, by the way. I joke about stuff like that because I want everyone to know that there is no police here. You can't do stuff wrong. The beauty of Zentangle is that you can do it however you want and it's still right. So don't let anybody make you feel ever like you can't do something a certain way. If somebody's telling you you can't do something a certain way, chances are they don't know what they're talking about. So there. That's my 2 cents. I've said it. I just have a problem with people, particularly in this community, that, and this is not, well, I'll just finish my thought and maybe not make it worse. People that maybe don't have complete information and want to set rules or limits on people and their art and the way that they do things. The bottom line for this art form is that there are no mistakes, and so that automatically means nobody's doing it wrong. You know, if they're doing it in a way that's not strictly Zentangle, that's okay too. I think Maria Thomas and Rick Roberts would be the first one to say, great, explore it. So, you know, don't let anybody tell you that what you're doing is wrong, because there's no such thing. There you go. So these look a little sad to me, a little unfinished. So I think I'm going to stripe. This middle section, because I can, because there are no mistakes in Zentangle. All Okay. There. It's a little bit more dynamic, isn't it? All right. I do like that better. Now, as to what to do here, I think over here I'm going to do something very traditionally Zentangle as far as the dingbats are concerned, which is set it up with a muka division and fill it with tangles. Now this one did not have a frame at all. Now we could aura the outside and make one and sort of dress that up. And I may do that. I may do that at some point. All right, I'm going to do a simple muka strand here. Going to go ahead and add a little bit of line weight. I am going to add an outer aura. I'm going to add an outer aura on this. Forgive me for using my Jester sketch pad underneath this. I noticed there was a lot of knee showing yesterday, so wanted to get that out of the picture. You understand, don't you? All right, a little bit here. All right, so now we have the rectangle divided into parts, okay? Now I could put another muka strand in here going this way, but I think this is fine. We put a little line weight or rounding on this. And then I'm going to go ahead and make a thin border around this. Okay, so I think now I'm going to work in brown here. I think I'm going to use the Zentangle pattern poke leaf on this bottom part because I love it and I can. If you're not familiar with it, it's not hard and you should be able to figure it out from here. It just starts with two parallel lines sort of curved out, and then you're going to make a little half circle across the top and go from there. You've got a little leaf-like shape, and then from there, like this. And you just fill them in wherever you would like them to be. Can't get it wrong. You can either black these in, you can tipple them, leave them blank. You can also put hatch marks in there. Any of those things will work here. Or any number of other things that I have not mentioned or thought about. You guys are a very creative bunch, and I have ultimate faith in your ability to come up with something awesome for these. Don't forget, when you're posting your art, please post it on Instagram if you're able to do that, and tag me at the Tireless Tangler so I can check out your art. Putting it on Facebook in the Dingbats group is a good way to do that too. If you're not a member of Dynamic Dingbats Facebook group on Facebook, wow, why do I need to say that on Facebook? Then I invite you to join. We're having a really good time in there sharing our dingbats, our projects from here. So I invite you guys to join us in there if you'd like. Instagram is the other way of doing that. And if we all tag our art on Instagram at the Tireless Tangler, then you guys are able to go to my profile and look and see on that list who has been doing these projects and what their art looks like, and use that for inspiration for your own if you'd like. It is also a great way for all of us to hook up with each other. If I recognize who you are when you follow me on Instagram, I try to follow you back. I don't always know who it is if your account is private, but if I recognize your handle from here and comments that you've made, then I will friend you back so I can keep up with you. But at this point, I have over 1,000 followers there, and so I don't have a lot of luck catching everything on my feed because I just don't have time to spend a lot of time keeping up with it. So if you tag me, then that problem is taken away and I always see what you got. Here we go. I like it. Now, at this point, I can finish it up. Now, Cindy. So I'm going to turn one a little bit in this direction and sort of fan this out a little bit. And I go ahead and do this as I go. You may do it after you're finished if that's what you like. Or, of course, you may do whatever you like. Isn't that great? How often do you go someplace and have somebody tell you, do whatever you want? Not very often. All right. I think I'm going to stop around here and try my best to leave some negative space. Again, that is difficult for me. So I think I'm going to leave this right here for now. I think I might finish it off with just a little bit of rounding between these leaves right here around the top. Yep, and I think I'm going to stop there, at least until we do a little bit of shading here. And then we'll see. I might drop a couple of orbs down here. Just for something fun. And I might fill this in. Okay. And up here, since this is fairly busy, I think maybe on this side I want to do something less busy. And I'm thinking of something very simple, just like hatch marks. So I actually think that's what I'm going to do. And that should be pretty quickly finished here. I'm just leaving a couple of gaps here and there for interest. All right. Slow down. All right. There. I very much like this, and once we get these shaded, they're going to be great. Let's get it done. So for shading, I think I'm going to, for Hinodrum, I'm going to lay my graphite right out here. may not shade around that edge. I haven't decided. I'm going to lay down a little bit down here. And my trusty tortillon. And see what this brings us. Very nice. Okay, so I'm also going to do inside edges of this. And I'm also going to do some slight shading around my garlic cloves, or whatever we're going to call this pattern in here. This is probably very close to garlic cloves, what I've done, so we'll just call it garlic cloves. And I'm going to go pretty heavy with my graphite because I want this to be pretty dynamic. So let's blend this out a little bit. I also want to shout out all my friends in Canada and in Taiwan. After the United States, I have most of my followers from Taiwan, which is awesome. I have many Asian friends, and I think they are amazing artists and people in general. Of course, everybody in the Zentangle community tends to be that way, I find. Not everybody, but most people. Okay. So instead of shading the inside edge of this, I think I'm going to shade along here on one side and see what happens. All right. See how that looks. Well, I might put some white charcoal over in this area. We'll see. I will definitely spend some more time shading on this. I think a couple of layers could be good to really pop that out. We'll see. But anyway, this is where I'm starting now for the frame part of Garlic Cloves. You just want to shade a tiny bit around your bigger clumps to sort of give them some depth, and you're going to be good to go. Once again, if you would really like to learn shading in a meaningful way, I recommend Annie Oken's Shading Fearlessly ebook to start. And then any of her lessons that strike your fancy are excellent. I have been in her art club for now 2 years, or at least this is my second. And $25 a month for US is very little to pay for the value that she gives you. And the learning knowledge that comes along with that is incredible. So just my 2 cents again, because I can. Well, I like this. I'll probably keep working on it, but you see what I mean about the garlic cloves. If you will blend some graphite in around them, it will give them a more dynamic, separated look as we go. This, I don't know. I think if I made it thinner, you know, this way, the little columns thinner, and maybe put one more in, it would have ended up being a little bit more dynamic. I might dress this up with a frame around here, maybe I'm tempted to put one in white jelly roll, which would look really cool here. This I would shade this entire hatched area around the edge. Now again, this is not shading advice. This is simply what I'm going to do, and I may or may not have a real reason for it. And I will tell you, I'm a pretty hit and miss shader, so follow me at your own risk. All right, and then a little bit more down here, and we will call it done for today, except for a couple of highlights with our charcoal. All right, and I'm just going to add a tiny bit anywhere where I've let these overlap a little bit, just to set them apart. And there aren't many of those spots. And maybe add some to where you've got the tipple down here. Maybe add a little bit, if you can do it without getting out of control like I just did, under your tips there, where your semicircle is. All right. The last step would be to just add some slight highlights. Sort of just brighten it up in spots. And be careful, don't use the graphite part. I'm just sort of using the side of my tortillon to get that spread out a little bit. Maybe a little bit on the fronts of your poke leaf, if you have done poke leaf. Maybe a little highlight on the bulb of your muka. Oh, I've got to find my other pencil. Anyway, you get the idea. And all that, and we're almost done. Just a few little touches with this in spots is really going to pop this out and make it alive. The white charcoal effect on tan paper is just amazing. And you don't have to be exact with it. You just rub a little on here. Now I probably will put a little bit right along here. And I'll just use my finger here. But you can see just a tiny bit here and there makes a world of difference, right? Now, I haven't really decided about this, but it's okay. I can live with it. So what do you guys think? Drop me a comment. Let me know what you did. Hopefully you'll be posting your art so I can see. I love this little exercise with a couple of different types of things, and I hope you've enjoyed this. So I am going to see you guys tomorrow. Don't forget, if you've missed a video, to go back and watch it. Thanks, guys.